Felix, 2, sits next to messages and flowers left in Manchester, ahead of the Manchester Arena National service of commemoration at Manchester Cathedral to mark 1 year since the Manchester attack. Marcio and Andrea Gomez, parents of Logan Gomez, arrived for a commemoration hearing at the opening of the inquiry into the Grenfell Tower disaster, in London. Brackley Town celebrate after winning the Buildbase FA Trophy final after they beat Bromley on penalties at Wembley Stadium. Actress Meghan Markle reaches Prince Harry at the altar in St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle for their wedding service. Workers from the Covent Garden branch of TGI Fridays on a picket line outside the restaurant as they strike in a dispute over pay. Members of Unite are taking action on Friday in a row over tips and payment of the minimum wage. A police officer talks to a homeless man in Windsor ahead of the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Wing Commander John Butcher, commanding officer of 617th Squadron, left jokes with Britain's last surviving dam buster, squadron leader George John E. Johnson, during an event to mark the 75th anniversary of the dam busters' raids at RAF Coningsby. The Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight was hoping to fly one of the 2 remaining Avro Lancaster bombers over the Derwent and Lady Bower reservoirs, but high winds prevented the aircraft from taking off. 2018 marks the 100th anniversary of the formation of the RAF and the 75th anniversary of the 617th Squadron Dam Busters operation. The Dam Buster Raids, Operation Chastise, was an attack on German dams on 17th of May 1943 by Royal Air Force No. 617th Squadron, using an innovative bouncing bomb, which skimmed on the surface of the reservoir before hitting the dam wall and exploding. President of Turkey Recep Tayyip Erdogan speaks as British Prime Minister Theresa May listens during a press conference after their meeting at 10 Downing Street. Erdogan is in the UK for a 3-day visit, which includes a closing lecture at the Tat Lidl Forum in Oxford, an audience with the Queen and talks with Theresa May. The funeral cortege of Alfie Evans goes past Everton's Goodison Park ground in Liverpool. Doctors at Alder Hey Children's Hospital in Liverpool stopped providing life support treatment to Alfie last month after his parents, Tom Evans and Kate James, lost 2 rounds of fights in the High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court and European Court of Human Rights. Daisy May Cooper, the winner of the Female in a Comedy Award for this country, with her BAFTA. Thousands of union members marched through central London demanding a new deal for workers, in an event organised by the Trades Union Congress, TUC. Jeremy Corbyn with shipbuilding apprentices at the Fairfield Shipbuilding Museum in Govan. During a speech he called for Navy shipbuilding contracts to stay in the UK. Dominic Chilcott, right, British ambassador in Turkey, hands over a letter of apology from the UK government to Libyan dissident Abdul Hakim Belaj, at the British consulate, in Istanbul. Abdul Hakim Belaj and his wife, Fatima Boudka, allege they were detained in Southeast Asia in 2004 and sent to Libya to be interrogated by the regime of late dictator Muammar Gaddafi. Britain acknowledged Thursday that its intelligence agents played a role in the kidnapping and torture of an opponent of the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, a rare admission of wrongdoing by British spies. The coffin of former House of Commons Speaker Lord Michael Martin, followed by his widow Mary, is carried from St Aloysius in Glasgow after his funeral. The former Labour MP died on Sunday, April 29, after a short illness at the age of 72. Mayor of London Sadiq Khan and Labour MP Heidi Alexander. Ms Alexander is standing down from Parliament after being confirmed as London's Deputy Mayor for Transport, replacing current Deputy Mayor Val Shawcross. Arsene Wenger bids farewell to Arsenal Football Club and the stadium he helped to build in more ways than one. It was Wenger's final home game of after 22 years in charge. Arsenal sent him off with a 5-0 victory over Burnley. Manchester City celebrate with the trophy after winning the Premier League title. Anti-independence supporters wave Union Jack flags as thousands of demonstrators march in support of Scottish independence through the streets of Glasgow. Prime Minister Theresa May with her supporters during a visit to Wandsworth Town Hall, where the Conservative Party retained control of Wandsworth Council in the local elections. Jeremy Corbyn outside a polling station in Islington after voting in the local elections. A memorial to George Michael outside his house in Highgate, North London. George Michael's family have since asked fans to remove their tributes from outside the late singer's former homes for the sake of his neighbours. Leicester Morrisman during May Day celebrations at Bradgate Park in Newtown, Linford, Leicestershire. Sajid Javid outside the Home Office in Westminster after he was appointed as the new Home Secretary. Celtic celebrate after winning. They confirmed winning the Scottish Premiership by beating rivals Rangers 5-0 at Celtic Park. People release balloons outside Alderhay Children's Hospital in Liverpool, following the death on Saturday morning of Alfie Evans, who was being treated at the hospital. The 23-month-old died at 2:30 a.m., parents Kate James and Thomas Evans said on Facebook. The youngster was at the center of a legal battle over his treatment that touched hearts around the world. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, right, speaks with British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, left, and Belgian Foreign Minister Didier Reynders, centre, during a meeting of the North Atlantic Council at NATO headquarters in Brussels. NATO held its last major meeting in its old headquarters, with talks focused on strained ties with Russia, a fresh peace effort in Afghanistan and a new training mission for Iraq. A protester wearing a mask depicting Facebook's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, flanked by two protesters wearing angry emoji masks protest outside Portcullis House in central London. Facebook's CTO Mike Schroepfer appeared in front of British members of Parliament on the Digital, Culture, Media and Sport Select Committee in the wake of allegations that information on millions of its users was misused. Members of the military work in the Maltings shopping area, close to the bench where Russian former double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were found critically ill 7 weeks ago. The area around the bench where the couple collapsed is one of 9 sites to be cleaned in an operation that is likely to take several months. A statue in honor of the first female suffragette Millicent Fawcett is unveiled as Prime Minister Theresa May and Mayor of London Sadiq Khan look on during a ceremony in Parliament Square. The statue of women's suffrage leader Millicent Fawcett is the first monument of a woman and the first designed by a woman, Turner Prize-winning artist Gillian Waring OBE, to take a place in Parliament Square. Prince William arrives at the Lindo wing of St Mary's Hospital with his children Prince George and Princess Charlotte after his wife Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, gave birth to a son. Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge crosses the finish line to win the men's elite race at the London Marathon 2018. Team England athletes during the Commonwealth Games. Team England parade in Victoria Square, Birmingham. Van Chopra of Essex during the Specsavers County Championship Division 1 match between Essex and Lancashire at the Chelmsford County Cricket Ground. The game is being played in the warmest April temperatures in 70 years. A young boy cools off in the fountains in Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau takes a selfie with Mayor of London Sadiq Khan and New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern at City Hall in London, during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. They discussed gender equality and issues affecting young people with London school children. Prime Minister Theresa May hosts a meeting with leaders and representatives of Caribbean countries, at 10 Downing Street on the sidelines of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Anna Thomas, the first baby to be born on the NHS, addresses the Unison Health Conference at the Brighton Centre. Sir Patrick Stewart addresses the crowd during the People's Vote campaign launch on Brexit at the Electric Ballroom in Camden Town. Prime Minister Theresa May gives a press conference at Downing Street following British military action, alongside US and France, against Syria. British jets fired missiles at a Syrian military base suspected of holding chemical weapons ingredients. England's Katarina Johnson-Thompson celebrates after winning the heptathlon with compatriot and bronze medal winner Eve Emerson during the 2018 Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast in Australia. Quaker Alan Pinch makes tea for passers-by as he holds a protest in Manchester against UK military intervention in Syria. A man pulls the flowers down from a fence opposite the house of Richard Osborne Brooks in South Park Crescent in Hither Green, London. The shrine has become an unlikely flashpoint of tensions between the grieving family and his neighbours since last week's incident where burglar Henry Vincent was killed by Richard Osborne Brooks at his house. Jonathan Powell, Lord John Alderdice, Lord David Trimble, Sir Reg MP, Lord Paul Murphy of Torvine and, front row left to right, Professor Monica McWilliams, Seamus Mallon, former Taoiseach Bertie Ahern, Senator George Mitchell, and Gerry Adams, at an event to mark the 20th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, at Queen's University in Belfast. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn gesture during the launch of Labour's local election campaign in central London. Hungarians due to vote in their country's general election, in central London. Orthodox Jews show support for a protest outside Downing Street in London, after at least 9 Palestinians were shot and killed by the Israeli army at the Gaza-Israel border. Charlie Danfield of England celebrates winning gold in men's 4,000 metres individual pursuit finals, alongside Scottish silver medalist John Archibald and New Zealand's Dylan Kennett with the bronze at the 21st Commonwealth Games in Australia. Tributes for Ray Wilkins outside Stamford Bridge. The former Chelsea and England midfielder, who won 84 caps for his country, died in hospital on Wednesday morning following a cardiac arrest last Friday. Alistair Brownlee, flag-bearer of England, arrives with the team during the opening ceremony for the Gold Coast 2018 Commonwealth Games at Carrara Stadium. Police at the scene where a 16-year-old boy was shot on Monday evening and left in a critical condition in Markhouse Road in Walthamstow, East London.